Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Happy July. Happy new month. Happy end of Pride, though Pride never ends. We are here with Chloe Michelle Howarth. Am I saying your name correctly, by the way?
I say Howarth, but I think
Howarth.
in America people seem to say Haworth, so no
Well,
judgment.
that's wrong, so I'm gonna say Howarth. So I'm here with Chloe Michelle Howarth, the author of Sunburn, which was our Pride June fiction pick here at Sapph-Lit. Chloe is an Irish writer. She grew up in the West Cork countryside, and the landscapes, culture, and people of rural Ireland have served as an inspiration for her writing. In 2015, she moved to Dublin to study English, media, and cultural studies in IADT Dun Leary. Am I pronouncing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did Google it. There are so many consonants in that, and I was confused. I was like,
Well
that's me
done.
with so many of the names from Crossmore. Um, but my best friend is named Neve, so I understood that one.
Amazing.
Um, Chloe's first novel, Sunburn, was shortlisted for the inaugural Nero Book Awards in the debut fiction category, shortlisted at the British Book Awards in the Discover category, and was shortlisted for the Polari First Book Prize. Her second novel, Heap Earth Upon It, was published in October of last year, and her third novel, Aftertaste, is set to come out next year. She currently lives in Brighton, and she's here with us on Zoom. Welcome.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you. And congratulations on getting engaged. So exciting.
Thank you.
Yes, we love to see
My
it.
God, I'm weak.
And congratulations on all of your success with your debut, Sunburn, as well as your most recent novel, Heap Earth Upon It. I'd love for you to tell us the origin story of your debut. I know these are so personal. Where did this story come from, and how did this book become what we're holding in our hands today?
Thank you so, so much. Yeah, Sunburn came from, I suppose it was a few things really. Like I had always written as a hobby, and once I graduated college, I went to college in Dublin, like you said, and I was like, right, let me move home just for a few months and kind of see what I'm gonna do, what I want to do, like myself and everything. And I moved home in like I maybe like October,
Hmm.
and then it was Christmas, and then I was like, right, get your act together. And then it was COVID all of a sudden, and I was like, oh, I'm going nowhere. I'm just in the countryside living with my parents. So I was like, okay, I need to keep entertained. And like I said, I kind of always written. So I was like, just start something new. You've all this time, just see what comes of it. And I think it was kind of a reaction to having lived in Dublin and kind of suddenly had this big group of like
Hmm.
queer people around me. My college we had like at the time the stats might have changed, but it was the queerest campus in Ireland, which
Oh,
was
we
fun.
love that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really understand how they gathered that data, but anyway, I kind of went from that to all of a sudden being back in rural Ireland with not only like a lot less queer people around me, but because it was all the lockdowns, just a lot less people around me in general. So I was like, I kind of need to have some queerness in my life.
Yeah.
So I started writing about these like queer characters like every day. And yeah, one thing kind of led to another. And then after, I don't know, however many months or a year or something, I had this finished piece and I was like, right, I should try do something with this. So then I Googled, what do you do? You finished writing a book? Like, how do you publish a book and all this? And I literally followed the steps like in the Google result.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was a really slow process, but then it became like Sunburn that's on the shelves now. So kind of crazy that it actually like became a real book because it really was just like a response to boredom, you know?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, that is so many novels that are coming out like within, I'd say the 2025, 2026 moment. There, a lot of them are COVID novels. Um, how much did the novel change between you Googling, how do I publish a novel, to what we read now?
Um, I like it a good bit in fairness. So my agent at the time well, I Googled how do you publish a novel? First thing, get an agent. So I Googled how do you get an agent? So then I kind of worked on that and I ended up with this amazing woman called Hannah Wetherill. And she really saw like the potential, I think, in Sunburn because um it's certainly like that wasn't the book that is now available to buy. Like it was a lot more probably I know the whole book is like Lucy's internal
Yeah.
monologue. It was a much more extreme version of that. Like it was so in her head, and Hannah was like, "Can we just get out of her head like every now and then?" And she taught me very much about like how to refine because the language in it can be quite like it can be quite intense at times, I think, like very, very descriptive. And she was very good at showing me like where less is more. Um,
Mm,
and also structurally, for me, it kind of I think she added a lot more to the ending of the novel where they're in Dublin. She was like, this needs to
yeah.
be more of an event, and then the ending can happen the way that it happens. But she kind of, yeah, like I said, she just really saw the potential and she kind of polished it up into what like I very much gave her a manuscript, and then when I was finished with her, I had a novel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Speaking of that kind of like really descriptive internal world of Lucy that you give us, I love how much you used religious imagery. And I know it's kind of impossible to talk about Ireland without talking about Catholicism. Um, and like, you really use it to describe Lucy's relationship with the people in her life, especially Susanna. Susanna is heaven. Her loyalty to the girls is a memorized communion prayer. She's feeling damned to hell by Susanna in the end. This is all really internal religious language, and it shapes how she understands things. And then in contrast, she uses religion and the concept of sin as a way to kind of distance herself from Martin. Holy God is watching, and therefore she cannot give him the physical relationship that he wants. As a religiously traumatized queer myself, I'm so curious if you're open to talk about your personal relationship with religion, where you see queerness and religion intersect for Lucy, and why it was important for you to structure, use religion as a structure for some ways in this story.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lucy certainly has more like intense time of it than I did. But like, yeah, I grew up Catholic. I kind of grew up in this weird situation where like my parents grew up Catholic and then they were quite young parents, and I think they were just like, oh, forget this. Like they weren't interested in religion. But
Mm,
equally, it's especially in Ireland and in rural Ireland, it's like a very much a cultural thing as much as it is actually like a religious thing. It's like just part of the culture. So although they weren't particularly bothered by it, I was baptized, I had my communion, I had my confirmation. I went to like well, I went to Catholic schools because that was there was no school, there was only Catholic schools. Like
yeah.
I went to Catholic schools, I was taught by the nuns, but that was just because that was the school that was nearest to the house. So, I kind of had this like culturally like Catholic upbringing, but I never had it kind of bed into me that like this is all to be taken really seriously. I think I
Mm,
was quite lucky that my parents had this like distance from it. Um, so yeah, although it has certainly left its mark, it's not as intense as for a character like Lucy or for I know some people have it like way harder. But it's very hard to write about queerness in Ireland, certainly in the last century, without bringing religion into it. I would imagine that even in a heterosexual sense, it's hard to write about lust and desire and anything like that without having some of that like guilt hanging over the characters, especially in a rural setting. Um, so yeah, it kind of like you said yourself, like it was unavoidable. Um, so I was like, right, well, let me just really lean into it then because it definitely does shape the way that like me and the people who I grew up around, like it's part of the way that we speak. Like I'm always saying like, oh mother of God, or like, oh God help us, or please God, I'll do this tomorrow. All things
Yeah.
like you just throw it in. So I was like, well, yeah, like it has to be there. Um, it's really funny, like as for the intersection of like queerness and religion, I don't know if I can speak to that just because I think it's probably a case by case thing. Um, some people manage to have a lovely balance between both and they can get on with it and that's great. But yeah, certainly in Lucy's case that wasn't it. But also I think because she has so much sort of internalized homophobia
Mm.
and a lot of like she has a lot of dissatisfaction with the way that she is and the way that she's turning out. I think for her, religion is kind of a way of it's like something to she can see herself through a religious lens and therefore get away with being disgusted with herself
Mhm.
rather than doing the work to accept herself. I think for someone like Lucy, it's easy to be like, well, I don't feel comfortable with this and this isn't the right thing to be doing anyway, so I don't like it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think she kind of uses it sometimes as an excuse not to do the work
Yeah.
and not to do the right thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, she's so young. I don't think you could really blame her at that age. Maybe if we met her in her 30s, 40s and she was still doing that, you could blame her. But yeah, it's I could talk about it forever. Like it's like it's such a complicated,
Yeah.
messy situation, you know?
No, it is. And I also reading it, I was like, I I loved that you didn't dwell on them going to mass so much. It was such, like you said, like such an internal, like the Catholic guilt is all up here. It's not, it's absolutely reinforced by, the ritual
Mhm.
that religion gives you, but like she was doing that all of herself. There wasn't like a priest or a nun or someone like wagging their finger being like, no, this is wrong, you can't do this. Like it was Crossmore and the panopticon of it and
Mm.
the kind of nun in her head was giving her like all of the, like you said, internalized homophobia that really held her back.
Yeah, definitely. And I think she's not in a position, but also she's not the type of character to really rebel against that. I
Mhm.
think for her, because her situation is quite difficult, she's happy to just sink into it sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, which yeah, it makes her quite unlikable at times. Like I think I have such a soft spot for her, but also I like even when I was writing her, sometimes I was like, this has to happen. She has to make this decision, but what the hell is this? And like
Well, I also think
every
that
child.
religion provides a like we kind of see Lucy doesn't want to make any decisions. She's happy to kind of just be dragged along through her girlhood, and
Yeah.
religion makes those decisions for her. It gives
Mm.
her like a template to follow, and that's really appealing when you feel scared of like either choice that she has to make.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
God love her.
God.
So
Um, I'm also I learned a lot about Ireland actually reading this book. I was like, I know a little bit. And then there's a moment where Lucy's mom mutes the TV when David Norris comes on. And the name
yeah.
sounded really familiar to me. And I just gave it a quick Google and I went on this whole Wikipedia deep dive about David Norris. And for those who don't know, he was the first openly gay Irish politician, the longest standing senator in Irish history, and is credited with basically single-handedly overturning the anti-homosexuality law, I think in like 93 or like
Yeah.
late 80s. And he campaigned against it for like over a decade. So, what's something you want non-Irish, especially since I am American readers, to understand about Irish politics and culture while reading this book, whether it's Ireland in the early 90s or Ireland today? Because, like you're saying, this Lucy can come across as unlikable, but I'm like, but she's Irish.
Well, that's a good question. It's a funny one because like Ireland in the 90s was like politically an incredibly like difficult time. I mean, like you had the troubles and everything going on in the 90s. Like there was so much going on. And like you said, like homosexuality being decriminalized in 93.
Mm.
So much stuff happening with the church and state and the separation of the two. Like, and there was a time when there was a lot more of that being referenced. And, you know, because I thought, well, I can't write a book about Ireland in the 90s without talking about, these things. And then I thought, actually, it just doesn't make sense for the character that Lucy is. She is so turned in on herself. She's so kind of afraid of the outside world, and she's very ashamed of her like potential connection to something like David Norris being in the news.
Mm.
And so I was like, do you know what? She's the type of teenager who, for her, ignorance is bliss. And I thought, right, Lucy doesn't really know what's going on, and she doesn't want to know what's going on politically in the country. Like, as much as she can help it, she's not kind of flicking through the paper, she's not listening to the radio. Um, because it's like what you don't know can't hurt you. So she doesn't want to know like what, even when positive things are happening, I think she's the kind of character who's like, oh no, I can't. I don't want to hear that. It's nothing to do with me. Kind of puts her fingers in her ears. So yeah, it's funny. I can't really say that I have written anything into the book that I would like an international audience to understand, because actually I ended up taking a lot of stuff out.
That's nice.
Um, but I do think I think it's funny that I think some people, especially international readers, still have this view that like I think some people seem to think that Ireland is like an incredibly progressive country, and some think that we're still like a really conservative country. And I think maybe it's worth people knowing just in how much change there's been in such a short amount of time. Perhaps that's something. Because like we were saying, so like it was literally illegal to be gay until 1993. Right. But then in 2015, we were the first country in the world to legalize gay marriage through popular vote. So that is such a short amount of time to have made such a huge, huge change. So maybe that's something I think I'd like people to know. Like, we seem to be gaining a better reputation. We're not the way that we were, but maybe it hasn't been that long since we got this new reputation. I don't know, it's a funny one. I don't think you'd actually get any of that from reading the book though, would you? That's like extra research that you'd have to do.
No, but I think it's really interesting because like I mean I'd also love to discuss with you the rise of Irish literary fiction in recent years, like especially with coming of age stories, the normal people and the Sally Rooney of it all, and how Sunburn fits into that canon from an American reader perspective. These young Irish girls and boys leave a lot left unsaid and are constantly like masking how they really truly feel. Um, and yeah, I would love to know your thoughts on this because I feel like there's kind of this, like as an American reader, I'm like, just say what you're thinking. But it's I think that was allowed for Lucy and Susanna, like because through the writing of the letters,
Mhm.
especially. Like I feel like the letters allowed them to reach these new emotional depths that like the pen allowed them to say what they were too scared to maybe say out loud, like with their voice. Um, so yeah, I'm curious on your thoughts on that, like the Irish canon and also like the letter aspect.
Yeah, I think like in Ireland, there's a real, or there like historically has been, it, we've been quite repressed. And there's kind of, it's like a culture of silence almost. Like it's terrible, really. Like so much just isn't said. And again, historically, I'd like to think that things are changing, but there can be a culture of like, just don't talk about that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's terrible, really. In regards to like the Irish, like literary fiction scene that's happening now, um, yeah, I think it's funny, like thematically that does come up a lot, but I think it's because it's not fiction. Like
Mm.
this theme is coming up all the time because it's people's lived experience.
Yeah.
Um, I don't, it's funny though, I'm like, I don't ever, when I think of like the Irish literary scene, I don't ever think of, I always forget about my own books. I don't like think about them because I've never bought my book, I've never read it like as a book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's a Word document that, but then I don't really consider them as part of it. Although, yeah, I suppose there is like that similarity in my books and in lots of Irish work at the minute, like this culture of silence. Um, but yeah, like I said, I think it kind of comes from a lived experience. I don't think it's this like crazy made up concept at
No.
all, you know? And it's infuriating to like read it on the page because you can see, hang on, you made that mistake before, you didn't talk about it before, and look how that ended up for you. And when it's all there in front of you, you kind of see how desperate and how frustrating and how upsetting it is. But when you're kind of used to that and used to like just going through life, I think it's easy to miss those things. Um, yeah, it's terribly sad, really. It's really sad, isn't it?
But
Yeah.
I mean, that's what made the letters so powerful. I was like, damn, Lucy, you're dropping bars. Like, okay. I was like, okay, Shakespeare, okay, okay, metaphors and similes and all of this like lovely, beautiful yearning. I mean, the yearning of it all, I feel like is such a key word with this book, sapphic yearning. Um, how is your like writer brain shifting between the letter writing and the internal Lucy brain?
Well, I think especially at the time when I was writing Sunburn, like I said, I didn't really understand why it would be beneficial to refine what I was writing. And
Mm.
so for me, that was kind of the letter writing and like the kind of quite intense, dramatic language of it. It was kind of my default for a long time. And I was like, this is the way I like to write. And I want to write something as kind of intense as this. But then I realized that you can't write a whole book like that. It would just be exhausting. And I don't think anyone would actually get through it. So I was like, right, how can I have language like this in a way that I can kind of get away with it? And like we were saying, like Lucy would never really just say that to Susanna because of like, culturally and who she is as a person, but also teenagers don't say things like that to each other. Um, and so I was like, I think the only way that I'll get away with kind of like linguistically get away with this, but also like for the characters is through letter writing. Um, so yeah, I mean, thank God I thought of it because I don't think it would have worked otherwise. And I think the book maybe doesn't work without the letters as well. Like they kind of have to be there. Um, but how did I switch between the two? I think it was just learning like when when it was appropriate to kind of tip it over a little bit and be a little bit more like stylistic versus like actually furthering the plot. Like a lot of the time the letters don't really do much for the plot, but they get more of the emotion and the vibes across. And I was like, okay, how much of this is actually necessary and
Mm.
where is it necessary? It was just about like learning how to do that and then knowing when to pull back and be like, you don't need to write like that all the time because it's too much. It can be too much.
And I mean, also it serves in the end, spoiler alert, like the letters become a really important part of the ending and
Yeah.
the discovery of those letters. And her saving those letters as like ritual and like reverence for Susanna. So I loved it. Um, but for me, the most heartbreaking part of this novel is the moment where Lucy's mom walks in on her and Susanna hooking up. First of all, I like nearly threw the book across the room. I was like, this is not happening right now. Oh my God. And then she acts like Lucy doesn't exist, like just doesn't listen to her, doesn't acknowledge her, doesn't feed her. And
Mm.
Lucy is really begging for attention. Um, and she knows the only way to get back in her mother's good graces is to show that she's pursuing Martin instead. And it's such a massive turning point in the story. It's like the pretty much the exact halfway point of the
Mm.
story. Um, it's every closeted queer's worst nightmare, and you wrote it so well. Um, so and like the beautifully like heaven sunburnt bubble of Susanna is just popped like in an instant. And I'm curious why you made this that kind of like halfway point. And I'm also really curious how you feel about Lucy's mom.
Well, I think yeah, it sort of had to come. Initially, Sunburn was all vibes, no plot. And I was like, something has to happen here. Something has to happen. And, I was kind of like, okay, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? She gets caught. And I think it just the reason that it's sort of where it is in the book is that that's just where it fits, really. I probably could have I probably would have enjoyed extending the first half of the book. I could have doubled it just because it's all just descriptions of how Lucy is feeling. And it's all very, very emotional. And I really enjoy writing that sort of thing. So I probably could have gone on and on and on with that. Um, but in terms of pace, I think that kind of needs to come in there. I don't think it could have gone any longer, really, or people might have lost interest. Um, but Lucy's mom, well, I have to feel for her, like in ways. I think she is kind of, she's a victim of her circumstance. Like same as everyone in the town. Like they're all just, she is only the way she is because of the time and place that she grew up. And I don't think she has like hate in her heart for her daughter. I think it's just incredibly difficult for her to understand that her daughter is different. I think it's really hard for her, like being in such a traditional place where, there is like a certain thing expected of people and especially of women, like you're expected to, and her mom really has her kind of life planned out that she'll go on and she'll marry Martin and she'll only live down the road and she'll have loads of babies and it'll all work out lovely. And then, I think she kind of goes into like a bit of grief maybe when that doesn't happen. Um, she's obviously incredibly extreme. I think the way that she chooses to react is terrible. I think part of her reaction isn't choice. I think it's natural. Maybe her actions after, like when she sort of starts to withhold food and attention and everything like that, I would say that's deliberate. Um, but yeah, it's like hurt people. And yeah, it's complicated. I think 50% she is the villain of the piece, and then another 50% I really feel for her
Yeah.
because she's not like that for no reason. She's grown up believing that this is the way that things should be. So she kind of panics when it doesn't start panning out.
I mean, 100%. And speaking of people who are 50% villains and 50% victims of their circumstance, let's talk about Lucy's relationship with her girls. Um, these girls are so endearing and infuriating, and like Lucy reveres her girls
Mm.
as a unit, but seems to take issue with every single one of them individually in one way or another. And that is so real. And I loved reading about it. And spoiler alert for those who haven't finished, it also really broke my heart in the end, knowing that one of them was essentially outing her relationship with Susanna to Martin and like kind of laughing about it and just I'm like Martin's such a sweet boy I saw that fly. That was a massive fly.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to coexist with him.
Oh no. Um and also like just a sidebar, I love that you made Martin so lovely.
Oh.
I think it's just I what a sweet boy. Um, um, but in that moment, like I feel like Lucy became a bit of gossip, like Neve McNamara was, which she tried for so long to avoid. And then we also see when she moves to Dublin, her having these new experiences of girlhood with new women like Evelyn, um, who's I think refreshingly blunt with her. And so I'm curious like how you compare her girls to like her relationship with someone like Evelyn and like beyond the kind of like general queer acceptance, what do you think Evelyn's relationship and friendship provides Lucy that her girls couldn't or just didn't?
Yeah, I think again, I kind of feel similarly about that girl group that I do with Lucy's mom. Like, I think they really love parts of her, the same way that she really loves parts of them.
Mm.
But none of them love each other like 100%. There isn't really anything like in that girl group. I wouldn't say it's like unconditional love,
Yeah.
but I think it's kind of like coming from a small town. Like when I was in school, oh my God, he's back. When I was in school, there was, not to say that it's based on like girls that I knew, but there was 8 girls in my class and there was no boys. It was just me and 7 other girls. And they were like, I went to school with them from 4 until 18. It was
Wow.
just the same girls were always around. Obviously, like when we got to secondary school, there was more people, but imagine if those 8 girls are your best friends. Like, and that long, long, long life that you've lived, like you've been through so much up to that point. I think it's going to get to the point where you're like, well, I can't live without you, but I'm sick of you.
Yeah.
Like, it just gets to be too much, doesn't it? And I think, they're all probably being fed certain things at home and they're all being kind of like, as in certain attitudes and certain beliefs. And they're only looking to take it out on each other and, who can appear the most mature and who has the most information on what's good and what's bad and everything like that. Um, I I think that they're like not her best friends and they're not the best people for her, but when she's in school, it's like, well, they're the best people for right now.
Mm.
And it's just one of those things, like I said, like when you grow up in a small town, like the people who are around you are the people who are around you. You don't have that much to choose from. So she's like, well, of course they're my best friends because they're the girls who are there. I'm with them every single day. So they're my best friends. And she doesn't really give much thought to the fact that like, again, it's just like a circumstantial friendship. Like those friendships pretty much all fall away is when she moves. Whereas I think someone like Evelyn is someone who actually is a friend to her. And if Lucy was straight and if she was so obsessed with Martin and if that was all going to pan out, I think her and Evelyn would still just be friends
Mhm.
because I think Evelyn is, well, I think, yeah, she's just more of a mature person. And I think she's more of the sort of person that Lucy needs. She's sort of like that big sister energy where she's not afraid to just be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Whereas the girls at home would be kind of saying it behind her back. They're not really going to say to her face, like, what are you doing? So yeah, I think that's probably like one of the most genuine relationships that Lucy has. Um, it would be nice to like give more time to that. I must go back and read it and be like, where could I have expanded that? Because I do think she's one of the more genuine people in her life. And then, yeah, but then also I think as a friend, Evelyn probably deserves a version of Lucy where she is a bit more grown up. And if Lucy would cop on a bit, like she could be a better friend to Evelyn.
Mm.
Um, yeah, but I think she needed to have friendships like what she had with the girls to then show her, oh, this is what a real friend is. This is what it could be like, you know, she kind of needed that experience first before she had the good experience second.
Yeah, 100%. And you talking about like Evelyn and like what could be and what's to come. Where do you see Lucy, Susanna, Martin in like 5 years time, 10 years time? What are their imagined futures?
Do you know what? I'm not going to say, just in
That-
case I ever go back to it.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
want to have said something and then go, oh, that's probably wrong. Um, I think you can imagine yourself, like Lucy still has a lot of growing up to do, a lot. I don't think 5 years would cut it. Martin has a lot of healing to do. I think they all need to go on kind of their own journeys.
Mm.
Um, but I do, yeah, I've had some ideas lately of like, oh, that's probably what would happen, and that's probably what would happen to her, and this and this and this. So maybe I'll go back to it one day. Maybe not, but I
I
won't say it for now, just in
I'd
case.
be very interested personally. Um, yeah, I mean, I thought that ending was so beautiful, and there was a line about Crossmore in the end. My sweet wasteland, all you ever did was hold me back. And I shed a little tear. I mean, I didn't grow up in as small of a town, but it really, like, the way that Lucy talks about Crossmore is full of contradictions, and it's this claustrophobic panopticon, and yet when she's in Dublin, she holds on to the smell of the farm, and there's this nostalgia in being young and not having to make her own decisions, and to be part of that herd of girls, and for Martin to only be her best friend again. There's like this deep nostalgia there. um how is it like for you, like when you moved to Dublin from your small town?
Um, yeah, I think that's my similarity to Lucy.
Mm.
Sometimes people think that like this is my like autobiography.
That's the debut stereotype, to be fair.
Yeah, literally. And I'm like, oh my God, my life was so quiet. Like that never happened to me. But I think that's our kind of similar thing. Like I grew up in a very small place, felt quite like sometimes, oh my God, the walls are closing in on me.
Mm.
And I used to always be like, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna move, I'm gonna go to London, I'm gonna go to Dublin. Like I was always saying that. And then as soon as I was gone, I was like, what the fuck? Why did I leave? Because where I'm from is like, it's like a holiday seaside village. Like people want to be there. And it was only when I was gone, but you have to go away to come back, don't you? Like it was only when I was gone, I was like, it's actually so lovely at home. And it made me appreciate it like a lot more. Um, I think that I never really had the like kind of animosity towards my hometown that Lucy has. She very much kind of blames it for all her problems. Um, I know that my problems are my fault. They're not, I can't blame them on a town. Um, but yeah, I remember similar to her, like when I moved, like every rural person has this moving to a city, you just feel like, oh my God, I'm anonymous.
Mm.
No one knows me. No one's kind of watching out for me, but no one's looking out for me. Like it's positive and negative.
Yeah.
And it's very liberating and it's very lonely at the same time. Like it's kind of really is the best and the worst. And so, yeah, her kind of trying to find her feet in the city, like that was certainly something that was like close to home for me. Um, yeah, that's where she and I are like this, you know?
I love that. Is there a reaction from a reader that has stood out to you since releasing Sunburn?
Do you know what? I think when I wrote it, when it was going to get published, I remember being like, people won't enjoy this because I was like, it's just so uniquely Irish. Really, now I was convinced. I was like, well, no one will possibly understand. And obviously, that was completely not true. And what's really surprised me is that it's not like one reaction I've had. It's like, I would say, honestly, 60, 70% of people who have read this book have been like, that's my story. Like, it's crazy to me how many people from like all over the world, this like queer rural experience, but also kind of the queer, like, mommy issue experience. Like, I can't believe how many people are like, that's actually my adolescence, and you wrote it down. And that is exactly like, first one or two people, I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And now it's gone to the point where I'm like, this is actually getting scary. Like, we've all had this weird, weird experience.
Mm.
And I didn't realize how like universal it was.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been nice in a way where I'm like, there's this kind of global community of rural queers. Like we're all floating around, like, and it's nice to know that there's always going to be someone who will relate. But it's been quite shocking that like so many people have related to it because I just didn't expect anyone to relate to it, you
Yeah.
know?
But how special that
Yeah,
you wrote something that makes people feel so seen.
it's so lovely. Yeah, but it's funny, like I never know what to say when people are like, that's my relationship with my mom. I don't want to go, oh my God, thank you for letting me know because I'm like, and then I don't want to go,
You're like,
oh,
I'm so sorry.
yeah. Yeah, like it's a hard one to react to. I'm just like, oh my God, sending so much love because
Yeah.
it's so shit that you went through that, but I'm so pleased that you like read something and it was cathartic for you. It's
Yeah.
it's a very difficult one, but it's so special, yeah.
Yeah. Tell everyone what you're working on now. What can you tell us about your next book, Aftertaste, or even about the Sunburn TV adaptation I heard that was happening potentially?
Yeah, well, in regards to adaptation, it's actually something that I kind of keep out of because
Mm.
I just don't, not that no one's tried to explain it to me. In fact, it's been explained to me loads of times. I just still don't understand how it works. So I'm like, I just let those things tip away in the background.
Yeah.
Um, but that is being worked on. Um, the aftertaste that has been announced now, which is crazy to me because I was kind of it's weird like when you work on something alone for so long and
Mm.
then suddenly people are going, and what about aftertaste? And I'm like, how did you hear like who leaked that? And then I'm like, oh no,
I'm
it's
like, you were the one who posted
yeah,
it.
literally it's such a weird it takes a while to like, sink in. Um, I'm quite excited about aftertaste. It's like my most modern
Mm.
novel. It's set kind of between 2000 and 2011, and it's about these, well, I can't give away too much. It's about these two lesbians who are from very different backgrounds in regards to like class,
Mm.
and they spend those 11 years together, and a lot happened in the world economically during that time. There's lots of up and downs for that couple. Um, And I really enjoyed writing it. I think it's probably my most like realistic novel, if that makes sense. Like Sunburn is so romantic and then Heat Birth Upon It is so gothic.
Yeah.
Whereas this very much felt like I was just in the real world when I was writing it, which was different for me. Um, yeah, I'm excited about it. I will say I think it's my gayest book yet. So that's fun.
That's saying something because Sunburn was pretty fucking gay.
Yeah. Yeah, they really go for it in this, and I'm excited about it.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read it. Um, so we're gonna go into the rapid fire round. For
Okay.
those who are listening in, if you have any questions for Chloe, we can ask them at the end if we have time, and you can drop them in the chat now. Okay, rapid fire. What are you currently reading?
I'm reading My Brilliant Friend.
Ah,
Yeah, that's what everyone
is it
does
your
when I
first time
come
reading
on
it?
my first time.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
loving it. Like I was explaining it to my fiance. They were like, "What's this book about?" And I was like, "Kind of nothing, but kind of everything.
Everything.
Like nothing is really happening, but it's about everything. I love it. I don't want it to end. I'm reading it really slowly because I just love it."
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of Sunburn. It's, I mean, maybe the first draft of Sunburn is about nothing, but it's about everything. What is a book that you recommend everyone to read?
Oh my God, Dogs of Summer.
I have it on my shelf.
Have you read it?
No, not yet. It's so short. I should read it. I'm going to the
Do
beach this weekend,
yourself
so
a
maybe,
favor.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe I'll
bring it to
bring
the
it.
beach. Such an amazing beach read. Any read. Read it on the train, read it in bed. I don't care. Just read it. It is just I read it. When did I read it? Last summer?
Hmm.
Yeah, last summer? Or maybe I don't know, within the last 12 months I read it. See, I'm getting frantic because I would love this book so much. I read it within the last 12 months at some point, and it has just gone into like my top three books. It's
Wow.
incredible. I love it so much. It's amazing.
Noted, noted. Is there a book coming out soon that you're really excited to read?
Well, in fact, I've just received an early copy of a book that I'm very excited about. It's called Carrying. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the author because I just received it. It's called Carrying, and it sounds really fascinating. It's by a trans woman, and the book is about basically this stealth trans woman who is married, and she's kind of like just Miss Perfect. Like she's the perfect person, perfect woman, like this kind of very manufactured idea of womanhood.
Yeah.
And her husband doesn't know that she's trans, and then she falls pregnant. And she's like, and it's like it's been marketed to me as like kind of body horror, and I'm very pleased that it's like by a trans author. I think it's going to be a really very unique perspective on this, and I once I finish My Brilliant Friend, I'm going to start reading it, but I'm so looking forward to it.
I found it. It's by Samantha Josephs.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if the cover is different, but it's like it's this neon green and pink and it has a turkey on the cover. At least
Oh,
at least I
wow.
put it in the chat. You might be able to
Yeah,
see. But that's a wild cover.
it's
I'm
crazy. Yeah.
so curious. I'm gonna have to pick this up. This sounds so good.
The UK cover that I have is like it's stunning. It's this like really kitschy bathroom, like a pink sink,
Hmm.
and then there's like a canine tooth that's it been like spat out of her mouth, and it's just like on the sink,
Oh,
and
I
it's like
found it.
blood, and I'm like,
Okay,
oh, I need to
putting it
read
in
this
the
book.
chat for everyone as well. Oh, it's
Yeah,
so fun. It's so like high femme. Like,
yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good.
oh my God, lovely. Okay, if you could have dinner with anyone dead or alive, who would it be? And it can also be a dinner party if you want people to be in conversation with one another.
Oh my God. Okay. If I could have dinner with anyone dead or alive, maybe I would have I'm like my granddad.
Oh, that's
Can't think
sweet.
of any celebrities. I don't really like, who are the celebs? Oh, I could have alive. Oh, hang on, I could
Yeah.
have alive. I would have, oh my God, I'd have Lady Gaga. I love her so much. I love her.
Yes.
And I would just write down questions and pass them to her because I wouldn't be able to speak. I just
Okay,
listen to
Lucy.
her. Probably her. Yeah, I just watch like what she orders and how she eats and everything. She's just like she's so beautiful and fascinating. I love her.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. What is your favorite like Gaga song?
Oh my God, where do we start? Where
Okay,
do we
or album, but whatever's easier to answer. Whatever's on repeat right now.
I love anything from Born This Way. I love Born This Way. That's like one of my favorite songs, but I love the whole album. I love Chromatica.
Mm.
Sign from Above, her song with Elton John on Chromatica. I love that song. I love it. She doesn't have one bad song.
He really doesn't.
She doesn't.
It's so good. Do you have a favorite class that you took at university?
Wow, my course was amazing. Sorry, I know these are meant to be rapid fire, and I'm not really being very
No,
rapid.
no, please continue.
My course was it was English Media and Cultural Studies. It was fascinating. It was like you would in every different like module, you took like a book or a play or a film or a TV show or a piece of news or media, and then you looked at them through like different lenses. So you might be like, okay, read this book and then like analyze it as a Marxist or analyze this as a feminist or postmodernism or whatever. Like it was just all about critical theory and it was so fascinating. Um, I felt really lucky because I we had a whole semester on Ulysses, and it's not something that I would probably ever be able to read from cover to cover. No, I don't think anyone can really read Ulysses in this day and age and understand it. But I was really lucky because they broke it down and they like taught us Ulysses and they had all the references so I could like understand it. Um, and I just don't think I would ever have the opportunity to like experience that book in that way if I hadn't taken that
Okay.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I felt so lucky to get to do that. And I was living in Dublin and obviously Ulysses is set in Dublin, so I was very lucky. It wasn't necessarily my like favorite at the time, but like on reflection, I'm like, that was an amazing opportunity to get to do that.
Yeah, I love that. Favorite queer movie and or TV show?
Okay, I love Feel Good, May Martin's show Feel Good.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, it's lovely. I think I've seen it like 3 times. I just love it so much. Um, but then a movie, what's an amazing queer movie that I love? I actually love, but I'm a cheerleader. I feel like everyone says that, but like it's
No,
so
it's
fun.
so good.
It's so
When
good.
I first started, I asked the same kind of rapid fire questions to every author I interview, and it's a very, very common response. And I had never seen it up until like maybe 2 years ago.
Oh
Truly
my
had never
God,
seen it. And it was because people just said, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it. And it's up there. It's like
so
top
good.
10 movies for sure.
Oh my God, you know what else I loved? Did you see Love Lies Bleeding?
Eyes bleeding. What was that one?
It's
I'm
the one
so
with
bad with
Kristen
names.
Stewart, and she's a bodybuilder in the 80s.
No, I haven't seen this one. Okay, noted.
Wow. That's a great film. It made me join the gym. I was like, I want to be a bodybuilder. I loved that movie.
Amazing. Okay, last one. Favorite queer influencer or celebrity to follow on social media? Like someone you're parasocial about.
Oh, who am I parasocial about? This is such a dickhead answer, but I actually like unfollowed like loads of celebrities and influencers on Instagram because I was like, I just don't need another reason to be on my phone.
That's fair.
But now TikTok, it's another story. Oh, do you know who's amazing actually? And he's one of the very few people who I didn't unfollow. He's called Me Chris Smith. He's on Instagram and he does self-portraits and his transformations are incredible. He does like photography self-portraits and they're insane. Like you could
Oh,
literally just
oh
scroll
wow.
like hours looking at the stuff he does. Like he's so talented. And as far as I'm aware, he's just does this
Oh
for
my God,
himself.
they're all him.
They're all him. In every single picture, it's him.
Oh, that's
Like
fascinating. This
a
is
master of
beautiful.
disguise. Yeah, I actually love him a lot. He's one of the very few people who I was like, I have to remain following you because it fascinates me. He's so cool.
I love that. Okay, we're gonna open it to the chat. Someone asked in Discord if Sunburn would be getting a hardcover edition.
No comment.
So that's a maybe. Um, that's a something might be in the works. Paige asked, were you listening to any specific music genre while writing Sunburn?
Yeah, I was listening to what would I kind of classify it as kind of sad romantic pop. Loads of Lana Del Rey. Um, do you know what I was listening to so much? Do you remember Ali and AJ from back
Of
in the
course,
day?
do I remember Allie
Yeah.
and AJ? I had a whole routine in elementary school on the yellow school bus taking me to my little public school. I did a whole um potential breakup song like like
Oh,
floor routine on the bus with my
oh my
friends.
God. Okay, we would have been friends in school. They have they've come back. I don't know if you're aware.
Oh,
They
yes, I'm very
yeah,
aware.
love, oh my God, I love their new music. They're so talented. And I feel like since they've come back, they kind of did like this synth pop stuff, and now they're doing more like acoustic, like Americana stuff. They're just so talented. And they have a song called Slow Dancing. And I listened to that, honest to God, I'd say 4,000 times while I was writing Sunburn. Like that's that is the soundtrack to Sunburn is that song.
Noted.
Like I love it. I love that song. And it just always reminds me of I have a playlist actually, a little Sunburn playlist that
Oh,
I'll send it to you.
please do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll share it with the Sapph-Lities.
Yeah, that would be
Um,
great.
the one song that kept coming up for me, and it's probably just because it's my number one on repeat song right now, Stupid Song by Olivia Rodrigo just came out. And it is so Lucy about Susanna for me. I
Yeah.
literally like I annotate all of my books and I was just writing, I was like, this is basically a lyric from Stupid Song. Like you don't know how it feels when someone says your name. I'm like,
I love that. I love that song.
yeah, no, I that and slow dancing, I'm now those are my I have to listen to those.
Yeah, definitely.
When I want to yearn. Samay asks, have you watched Yellow Jackets?
No, but do you know what? You're not the first person to mention it. I think I need to watch it.
Because Sienna then says Lucy and Susanna remind me of Jackie and Shauna.
Oh wow,
Who
okay.
are the two like main characters because it goes back between like high school age to adult age, and Jackie and Shauna have this very sapphic friendship,
Is
like
that right?
obsession.
Okay.
Um, and I think you would really love it.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
There is a touch of cannibalism if that makes you squeamish, but I love it.
Okay. Well, it would have, but I read and loved the Lamb, that book about cannibalism.
So
So I
good.
feel like I'm able for it now. I'm like, I can
Yeah.
watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
watch that 100%.
I do have cannibalism as one of my bookish special interests.
Okay.
Um, and A Certain Hunger by Chelsea Summers is another absolutely wonderful cannibal book. It's about a psychopathic woman who murders her lovers and then cooks them like very beautifully, like
Oh,
very like Michelin star.
yes.
And she's like this cannibal serial killer. It's and you're in her head the entire time. It's wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I might have to get into it.
I'm like, this is gonna start you down a path.
Yeah.
Oh, Sienna says there's a line in the book that said in the show, I don't know where you end and I belong. That's gaggy.
So I need to tune in. I definitely need to tune in.
Also, Hope said a touch of cannibalism has me on the floor. I'm like, I didn't know how to elegantly put that. Um, is there anything else that we didn't get to talk about that you want to share or say or talk
I
about?
don't
Anything?
know. I'm just so like happy and grateful that you all read Sunburn genuinely because it came out like a few years ago now and it makes me really, really pleased and happy that like book clubs are engaging with it and that people are enjoying it. And I think it's easy to be like, no, like let's get a book that just came out. Like let's get like the hot new
Mm.
thing. So I think it's just really, really lovely of you all to have read it, and I hope that you all enjoyed it. And
Emily in the chat says this is one of my favorite books of all time now, which is so sweet.
oh,
And
that's
I mean,
lovely.
I really believe that books will find you when you need them. And I think, like I talk to so many debut authors where they're like, "Oh, the debut's done and now it's on to the next thing." And I don't know if this will ever have a moment ever again, but I feel like books find their people. And so in Sapph-Lit, we vote on the books that we read. And Sunburn was pitched by our members, and then it like won very overwhelmingly
Oh,
in in a poll, like hundreds of people voting for it. So I hope that lets you know it's found its people.
that's lovely. That's really sweet.
And yeah, thank you so much for your time. There's so much love in the chat right now. And
Oh,
yeah, I just really, really appreciate you joining us on Zoom.
of course, honestly, thanks everyone for having me and for spending your afternoon with me. I really appreciate it. And your questions were amazing. So thank you for all the time that you put into it. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And have a lovely rest of your evening. Oh my God, so many hearts. I'm obsessed with all of you. Have a good rest of your evening. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye, guys.